These are people that usually haven't run businesses and look at numbers and statistics, and the numbers tell them they should invest in women, and they don't.
We made every
mistake possible.
Yeah, we've had founders go through that program, had not made $1, and within 24 hours had $300 hit the bank account.
The worst advice you think most people get given before they find you guys?
Is to take every piece of advice. I got sick of saying no to people, and I wanted to say yes.
Crystal, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited today because, not because it's a controversial topic, but because it is a topic of note, if that makes sense. It's a topic that everyone talks about. It's a topic that is not, in my view, changing massively. It's a topic you're trying to change. You've obviously just had an event in your business that will hopefully enable you to change it even more. So there's a lot of stuff to unpack. But before we get too heavily into what you're doing right now, let's frame it up and go a little bit back through your history. So obviously you had your own fashion label, but before you ever became an entrepreneur, where did you sort of dwell and grow up and build this resilience and desire to go out and set up your own fashion startup? So what happened to you before that? Was it a childhood thing? Was it a work thing? Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so I actually started my career in government.
Which is so not the one you expect to hear, right?
Exactly. And I got sick of saying no to people, and I wanted to say yes.
Was it a computer says no kind of scenario where?
Yeah.
So what were you doing in government?
Sport and recreation. So
Okay.
I was a sport and recreation officer, building skate parks, swimming pools, working with grassroots sport and rec.
That's the funnest part of government.
It was very fun.
And was that here in New South Wales? Were you
Central Queensland?
Central Queensland? Right, cool.
Yeah.
So in that kind of environment, Central Queensland, and this is a while back, right? Was there a lot of funding, or was it pretty tight? Who was the premier then? Was it like Anna Bligh or something like that? How long ago was it?
It may have been pre that.
Maybe pre that. Okay, let's not
let's update it. Yeah. So my role was literally as the first sport and recreation officer in the local council, and my role was really to bring together the community to have activities for young people. I was having concerts and skate parks and all sorts of.
And how did you? And so, what age were you then when you were doing that? Were you young?
Yeah, 23.
23. And what made you decide to go into any kind of local government back then?
It was just the journey. So I just finished school, did a Bachelor of Human Movement Science.
And there it was, the job.
There it was.
Okay. And so how long?
Maybe 3 years.
Okay. That's not too long to be institutionalized. It's just enough time to probably teach you some governance and rigor.
Yeah.
And so you said you got sick of saying no to people. Was that people were coming to you saying, we want a skate park, or we want this, we want that, and the budgets just weren't there?
Or just the process,
right?
You know, like it slow-moving organisations, and I just wanted to say yes to everyone. And so I jumped out and started a consulting company, working with sport and recreation organisations. So we did a whole heap of sport and recreation plans, open space planning, worked for governments around Australia, did some work in Fiji.
So 26, you're already a founder.
Yeah.
So where do you think that desire came from? Was it something that were your parents business owners? Was it something that, or did it just that you're so fed up waiting for people to do something? You're like, the only way I'm going to get this done is if I do it.
Yeah.
It was that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good reason. And so how long were you in the consulting business for?
18 years.
Oh, wow.
I owned that company for. Yes.
I don't remember. 18 years.
Yes.
That's a long time. And did that grow to a significant size? Was it just you with sort of contractors? How did that pan out?
No, I had business partner, and we would just contract everywhere. The government pulled all the money out of sport and recreation, so we started working with small businesses. We ran a buy local campaign where we were activating all local businesses. We were actually media and communication coordinators for an environmental, what was it? The Gladstone Healthy Harbour Partnership. So an environmental industry government partnership. And so we were communicating, science communicators basically.
Okay, cool. And did you close it, or did it just come to a natural end, or?
I left the business when I moved to New South Wales and I started building out a youth entrepreneur program, working with disengaged, unemployed young people.
Cool.
And I was working on the fashion tech company. And so my business partner at the time continued that consulting company.
And did you sell your shares out? Do you still own them or?
No, sold the shares out.
Sold the shares out. So starting a program for youth, that's hard. It's very challenging. As you know, you would have come up against the red tape that you got so frustrated with in your early career. But also, it's a very unforgiving world trying to do that, when you're trying to work with disadvantaged youth, they're not always grateful for it either. So trying to do that whilst also, I'm assuming at nighttime, building your fashion tech business, that's a lot of everything happening right there. What made you do the two at the same time? Because even one of those things is a lot, right?
Yeah, I think for me, like entrepreneurship is such an amazing thing. And when you get passionate about a cause, it's like you just want to do it 24/7. So the two worked in really beautifully together. Like I was able to experiment in the fashion tech business and then take those stories to the young entrepreneurs. And I think for young people, just watching them grow and learn and think it's not it doesn't have to be a linear course where you go to school, you're good at school, you go to uni, you get married, you buy a house, you have kids, that linear story that doesn't fit for everyone. So to work with young people and say there's other options, there's options of starting your own business, there's options of just being able to problem solve, that I think that they worked beautifully together. And for the fashion tech business, that was my graphic designer that I was working with. It was really her business and I really come on as the CEO co-founder to be able to raise capital and get grants and get that technology built.
Okay. Well, before we get into that, tell me a little bit more about the entrepreneur program that you ran. So did you create and curate all the content? How did you deliver it? Did you have a space? Did you partner? How did you sort of go about, like I said, it's not an easy thing to do. So how did you do that? And then how did you get people to come?
Yeah. So we built a course and then we were delivering it with grade 10 students at a high school.
Cool.
And the students gave up 2 hours of their time. So it was 2 hours of school time, 2 hours of student time.
Okay. So you want a commitment.
Yeah. And so they worked through, what's the problem? What customers do they want to build for? What's their solution? We did financials, all of the cool things.
Anyone come out of that program that really just nailed it?
Yeah. Every single young person had their story. And so there was twins who were in grade 10 and they couldn't read and write.
How's that happen?
They'd just been lost in the system.
But how do they get through their day?
So they were very clever at being able to talk their way through things.
That's amazing.
I don't know how they got through school, but so their idea in the program was to build out a solution for young people like them to learn how to read and write. And so they went through the process. And, who was the problem? Sorry, what was the problem?
Yeah.
Young people were the ideal customers and they worked through what could a solution be. Now, they went through the whole program and, they didn't end up building anything.
Yep.
But I went back and saw them and they were sitting in the library and they were reading chapter books. And I'm like, what's going on here? And they said, Crystal, you taught us how to problem solve. And so what we worked out was that if we bought an audio book and we had a physical book, that we could hear the words and read the words, and we've taught ourselves to read.
That would be so difficult. Like the variables in that's not a structured learning program at all. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess having two of them would have helped to some degree.
Well, and then they said, Crystal, but the best thing is when mum sees us reading, she doesn't ask us to do chores.
The simple motivations are sometimes the best, right?
But life changing. So in this case,
completely.
Entrepreneurship was life changing for them, even though they never sold.
Yeah. Do you know what they're doing now?
I don't.
I wonder. If you're watching or listening, get in touch. I want to know. Okay, so talk about the fashion tech business. So as you said, you're a graphic designer. Where did you take that business and how did you raise money? Because raising money is difficult now. It would have been much harder then because the ecosystem wasn't even close to being in the existence it is now. So talk me through that a little bit.
Yeah. So like I said, it was my graphic designer. We'd worked together for years and years virtually. And she'd built out, so think about your virtual try on
Right.
So, you know, you see something you want to buy online, don't know what it looks like on you. And so to be able to virtually try it on.
Yep.
And so she'd had an app and she'd had some customers, but she needed to raise capital. And of course, we got all of the advice from all of the people and we pivoted the business 10 times.
All the advice from all the people. What a great term that is. Yep.
And so I was a grant writer in my government days, so was able to get some funding from the Queensland government at the time, Advanced Queensland Ignite grant. We got some family and friends funding as well. And then we pitched to Brisbane Angels and was able to get some investment from Brisbane Angels as well. So leveraged all the different types of investment against each other.
So I want to ask you about that family and friends round. I've never really asked anyone about it, and I hear it all the time. I've never done it. I would be so uncomfortable asking family and friends to put money into something. What is that like? And I wish I'd asked more. I mean, we've done goodness knows how many of these interviews. A lot of people have done it, and I've never asked anyone. How do you go about that? And when you do a family and friends, I mean, obviously it depends on, and each family is different, but was it a lot of money? Was it significant? You know, I mean, I want to know more. Tell me about it because it's something that fascinates me. I imagine it would be very difficult.
Yeah. So when investors first said to us, do a family and friends and fools round.
Is that what you call it? I've never heard the
family,
fools.
Friends and Fools, FFF. Yeah. And I guess it was, and I thought, I don't know anyone who's going to invest in this.
No.
But just having the conversations with people. So just talking about here's what we're doing, here's where we think we can get to, really just that informal pitching to everyone and anyone who will have a conversation with us, which gave us a lot of data points. And we had people come on, and give us support in advisory roles as well. So it wasn't just the cash, but we were able to raise $100,000 in cash from that.
It's impressive. And how did it go?
Well, it's not surviving now.
That's all right, but tell me a little bit about how it went.
Yeah, so we made every
mistake possible.
Yeah, every mistake
absolutely.
All the failures,
Brilliant.
failures, which puts me in such great stead to tell great stories now to all of my founders. Here's what not to do.
Learning experiences.
Yeah.
Don't we love them?
Yeah. So we built technology. We did have some customers.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue with the fashion industry and what all the advisors sort of told me, good luck with fashion, is that the margins are so tight.
Tiny.
So to implement any sort of technology is so difficult. And I think that was one of our biggest issues. But you would have seen probably a couple of months ago, Google come out and they've got the virtual try-on platform. So
look, it's been needed since you came up with the idea. I mean, everyone has wanted from a customer perspective, they wanted it. It's just the fashion labels couldn't afford it, right? It was as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Fashion, it's so boom or bust. Like if you nail it, there's so much money in it. And if you don't, there's just nothing. And even if you're surviving, it's nothing. It's so much work.
It's so much work. And we've got all these poor Australian fashion retailers who just work their hearts out to build these brands, and there's just so much competition in the market. It's really hard to get anywhere.
They do tend to go bust and start again and go bust and start again. You see a lot of fashion labels doing that. I think there's a lot of people come in and bail them out and stuff. But yeah, I mean, they evoke emotion, right? It is a product that evokes emotion. And, as we spoke about before we started, there's a lot of B2C products out there that evoke emotion that struggle with getting funding, which we'll touch on. So Tech Ready Women, you've just been acquired by Scalare, who obviously are acquiring a number of things since they listed to provide services to, I'm assuming, is it just to their internal founders or is it to external founders as well?
No, definitely external founders.
Cool. So I'm assuming that's going to enable you to do a lot more. How did you get that business from where it was to a place where someone like Scalare would want to acquire it? Because they're looking at acquiring a number of things. So how did you get to be one of the ones that they did?
Yeah. So I'm not actually the founder of Tech Ready Women. Christy Whitehall was the founder, and she launched a business in 2017 when she was back in the day showing up to all the tech events, too scared to ask the silly question, and hence spent a lot of time, money, and energy building tech and innovation solutions that never saw the light of day. And so she didn't want other women to go through this same process. So we were running in-person programs for 15 women at a time. Mm-hmm. And then when COVID hit, the New South Wales government pulled out a contract to say we want to run an online version of a pre-accelerator program for women. Christy had recorded all of the sessions already,
Brilliant.
so was really able to get it up quickly. And so that was the basis of Tech Ready Women, was our female founder startup program.
Yep.
We then identified that we didn't want to just kick founders out of the program and have them go on to other places.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kept coming back to us saying, can you help us with investment? Can you help us with investment? And so because Christy and I had the experience of raising capital and writing grants and looking at that funding bucket, that we pulled together the Investment Ready program. So I think the expansion of the programs, the expansion of our footprint, instead of not just New South Wales but the whole of Australia, made Tech Ready Women like a really good acquisition for Scalare Partners.
How long has it been going now?
Since 2017.
2017. So
8 years.
do you think in that period, and you've been involved in it since
4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. Do you think in that 4 or 5 years, the environment has changed for women? Or do you think everyone just says it has, but in reality it hasn't? Well, they don't even say it has. They say they're trying to help it. Just like a lot of the VCs, which we won't name, say they invest in early stage businesses, but they don't really. Do you just think, I feel like there's a lot of talk in the Australian ecosystem about a lot of things and actually nothing really changes. Is that the impression or am I misreading it? I could well be.
I think things change. I think it's really difficult to measure some of those metrics in terms of if we're looking at investment for female-only teams, that's a number that's not changing, and there's some systemic things in the world that are happening that maybe that will never change.
Why do you think that is though? Because it's so low.
It's so low.
And yet the stats prove that women founders are much more effective in the long term.
I think the VC model is built upon things that naturally support male businesses.
But it doesn't make sense. Like these are people that usually haven't run businesses and look at numbers and statistics, and the numbers tell them they should invest in women and they don't as much. That does, to me, that's just, so you say it's built on a system. I always thought maybe it was because they'd built businesses, but as you look into it, most VCs have never built a business and they literally are numbers people, and the numbers are telling them to do this and they're literally going the other way. I just can't get my head around it. It doesn't make sense.
But the types of businesses don't suit that, raise, scale,
because there's a lot more B2C.
Scale.
You're right. Like I think you're right. I think the key thing is if you're going to get VC money, you probably want to go for a global domination business that that's what they want to see. They don't want to see just a profitable business. That's of no interest to them, right?
And people with those businesses probably don't want to see VC funding and have the expectations of VCs as well. So it's something that just doesn't match.
But there's plenty of other funding options, right?
100%. And there's different ways to build businesses that doesn't look like the VC model, and that's okay as well.
Yeah. And obviously it's called Tech Ready Women. So we're dealing with technology. I think one of the biggest interesting things I've seen in the last 8 months is that you can build a business in 3 months that would have taken you 2.5 years and a whole bunch of developers now. Yes, you still need someone to go through it and check it, but the onslaught of AI has completely changed the game. Non-technical founders are far more powerful than they've ever been. Do you think that's going to benefit female founders who tend to be less focused on STEM subjects in school? I mean, that is changing actually, but it's still a minority.
Yeah, I think it's much easier for non-technical founders to be able to prop up a business solution that's innovative and scalable without having to spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars on tech development.
Yeah. And what made you join though?
Tech Ready Women. Yeah, so I just stepped out of the fashion tech business, and I thought, I just want a job that inspires me.
Yeah.
And then that night, Christy Whitehill had posted on LinkedIn a role for the program lead, and I'm like, this is me. I'm very passionate.
Serendipity.
It was. And I'm just, my personal passion is to help women win. And so to be able to help thousands of women win every year, I'm just living my best life.
And how is that going? Obviously, I know the goal is 1 million. Now, I'm not expecting an exact number, but if you look at it from an annual basis or a monthly basis, how many women are you impacting, do you feel, right now? Because the business is obviously scaled.
Yeah, so we're well over 10,000 women that we're impacting, and every year our programs are growing, our footprint is growing, the different types of programs that we're running is growing. So we're on track.
What's the most surprising thing to you in this role that was so much easier and harder, but let's do easier first, because I think people don't even sometimes even reflect on things that were easy. But what happened since you've been there last 4 or 5 years that you thought was going to be a real battle and it just sailed through?
Oh, gosh.
Was there anything? There must be something coming on this podcast. No, was there anything else?
Look, I think, I just love women who lean in to getting support and trusting in, I guess, our stories and all of the amazing mentors that we've got. And when they hear our stories and they lean into the tools that we give them, just watching the wins, watching the light bulb moments, I think that's the magic.
Yeah, okay. And what's been the thing that has probably gone, I mean, you knew a lot of it was going to be hard, but something was just like, it was unfathomably difficult than you probably expected.
Again, that's a tough one.
It is, but you know what? I think every business has these things that you think are going to be easy and they're not, and things that are going to be hard. But we don't reflect on them. We kind of get them done and then forget about it. And that's why I often ask this question. And everyone always goes, oh my God, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, the extremes.
Yeah.
And I think on every day there's hard things and easy things. And because we've got such an incredible team that it just all evens out. So hard things. I mean, growing a business, so being owned now by Scalare partners and shifting the mindset. So we were a small team. We were sort of implementing one program at a time, and then to be able to have the opportunity to scale. So I think shifting the mindset to be a scalable company so we can impact more women.
And how does it, I sold my very, very first business many years ago to a listed business. And if you've never worked in a listed business, which I don't think you had, obviously you'd worked in government, it's another world, right? It's like another planet. The way they think, the sheer volume of reporting, the governance, the insanity to making decisions based off a share price in the next quarter as opposed to the long-term good of the business, all these things, right? They're very alien, particularly to an entrepreneur. How have you found working in that environment?
Well, I'm thankful for our CEO,
Who's
Carolyn
buffering
Breeze.
you. She's buffering you.
She's buffering me.
They would still impact you, I guess.
Yeah, she lets us do what we do well.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do have reporting and reporting to the board, but I feel like it's a little bit fly on the wall. Like I get to have this experience without, the impact of the direct responsibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're always thriving. We're always looking at return on our investments. We're always looking on how we can impact more women.
Were you involved in the sale process?
No.
Oh, I was going to say that's probably the one thing you haven't quite gone through yet. I was wondering if you'd gone through it. Yeah, it's an interesting process. But I'm sure at some stage in the future you will. So let's talk about your role. So you're program lead. So how does that work? How can women get more out of what they're doing right now? How can they be involved? What are the opportunities? Talk through the program in a bit more detail.
Yeah. So I've actually moved into the general manager role. That was part of the sale process, which was
good. So you managed to nail in a promotion into the sale process. So you were definitely involved in that.
Well, and Scalare were my clients. So I was contracting. Scalare were my clients. Tech Ready was my client. So it was my two favorite clients coming together. And they said, "Do you want the GM role?" I'm like, "Yes, that is the only role." My first full-time job in
forever
since leaving
the
government.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We've got program leads that we've just put a job out for a new one as well. And
actually, I did see that yesterday or the day before. Yeah, recently.
Yeah, really exciting. So it lets me sort of step up and out rather than sort of delivering all the time. But look, we've got 3 programs. The Female Founder Startup Program, which is your ideation kit, first step into the industry. You might have an idea on a napkin, or you've got an idea that you've created a solution for, but you're not quite getting the traction that you thought you might get. And so this is really that starter kit. So pre-accelerator program, 8 weeks. It's a vulnerable space, so you can ask all of the silly questions. We don't use acronyms. We share stories of failures. So I think for me, that spot where women can open up their vulnerabilities, because I think there's practical and tactical tools, but then there's also things within ourselves that we need to get over to be able to take money, to be able to talk to strangers, to be able to publicly pitch solutions.
The little hurdles. And is that full-time?
Yes.
And do you do that predominantly on site, or is it more remote?
Yeah. So we meet women where they're at. So it's online.
Yep.
And sometimes people are working full time.
Yep.
And so there's a series of videos to watch, there's workshops, there's mentoring. So it really is. We understand that women often have either full-time jobs, caring responsibilities, and this could be a side hustle or it could be the full-time gig that they're working on.
Okay. And then where does that lead to? What's the next stage in the program?
Yeah, so the next stage in the program is our 1 to 1,000 customers sprints.
Yep.
Because we did a bit of research around the VC funding, and a lot of founders were saying that they're being told they're too early. And so we look at the businesses and there wasn't month-on-month growth. And so we thought, how do we create some opportunity for women to be able to jump in, to be able to identify what's my blocker and get that month-on-month growth should they want to go down the investment route. So 1 to 1,000 customers, 28-day sprints, or we've got like an 8-week one for your first corporate pilot. And we just pick particular areas. So the first 10 customers might be, how do you go and sell an idea to a stranger for $1?
Right.
And just get over that barrier of being able to ask for money, not having to overvalue for less money, all of those type of things. And we've had founders go through that program, had not made $1, and within 24 hours had $300 hit the bank account.
Wow.
And so for that unblocking is a great opportunity.
And tell me, in these, so when you go from ideation to this one, obviously some of those will have been started at ideation and they're trying to work it out. Some would be just coming up with the idea. Obviously here that they're operating right now. Typically, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, what kind of businesses are you seeing? Are you seeing a pretty even spread? Because I see a lot of female founders doing B2C products, which I said to you. I don't see a lot of them doing fintechs or other things like that. So is there a trend or is it pretty broad now?
I think a lot of women in our programs have identified a problem that they'd faced themselves and now they're solving it for the world.
The B2C, right?
Yeah.
And do you find that you get a lot of women who see problems in business that want to solve that, or is it more personal problems that they get?
It's across the board.
Yeah, okay.
So in business, with kids, even a lot of health. We've got a lot of biotech, health tech businesses, edutech as well. Yeah,
okay, that makes sense. All right, so you get them to 1,000 customers, so to speak. So you go through, and how long is that program?
So it's a series of sprints.
Right, so it just keeps going.
28 days, 8 weeks. We run them a few times a year. So they just jump in and out, unblocking whatever needs they have at that point in time.
And then the last one, that's the more about investment focused one?
Investment readiness. So that's a 5-month program. So the first 6 weeks is quite intense, where it's weekly.
Yep.
And then we prepare them with the pitch deck, the data room, the financial forecast, all of the legals, and then support them for about 4 months in terms of advisory. So it might be that they've got a funding application and we help them review it. It might be that they're pitching for investment and they're like, I didn't nail the pitch. So we talk through unpacking what might have gone wrong. Negotiating deals, helping them build out the data room, all of those types of things.
Okay. And then at the end of that, hopefully they've raised money. And away they go?
Sometimes they're like, I don't want to raise external funding, which is okay as well. So the idea of the investment ready program is let's look at all the things in the capital bucket. So it might be that there's grants available. It might be that there's crowdfunding. It might be that there's family and friends or angel investment. And fools. And it might be that a corporate pilot or, pre-sales could be just the revenue that they need to get them over the line to start those bigger sales happening.
And then once they've completed that 5 months, do you have an ongoing alumni kind of thing? And how does that work?
Yeah, I always say to my founders, we will love you forever. Founders are just in touch whenever they need things. So we've got a Tech Ready Women community where we do like lunch and learns and a whole heap of events, founder meetups. But it's just that you're part of the community and you have my phone number. It's that level of support. And a lot of our founders meet other founders that they hadn't met before. So to feel like you're alone on this journey, but then to have alumni around you, that the connections there are just invaluable.
Yeah, I think community in every sense has become a huge thing in every aspect of life, not just business. But I think when you're running a business, so much so, particularly if you are potentially managing another job and children, and then you're trying to do this, it's a very, very lonely space. It also might be an escape, but it's a very, very lonely space.
Yeah.
And what's the plan for the business? Now, obviously, you've been bought. You've got the capacity to potentially scale quicker than you did before. Is there anything you want to talk about? Any plans that there are?
Yeah, so a lot of our programs have been state-based,
Yep.
and so we're running all of our programs are national programs
Okay.
now, so covering the whole of
That's great.
Australia, New Zealand, and obviously having access to the wider Scalare network is that we can place founders further along their journey. So once they've, when they're in that scale and grow phase, we've got the Founders Union, we've got like other programs that can support them. But yeah, like just building more programs, expanding our programs.
Well, let's try and get a little bit of value for our viewers out. So what are the top 2 things that you, if you can, I don't know if you can pull it, if it's that simple, if it's too broad, but what are the top 2 things that you see as the challenges, and what is your advice to anyone who's potentially going through that? Let's see if we can hit as many people as possible with this.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the challenges is you don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
And particularly if like you've just come up with this grand idea and you want to invest all of your time, money, and energy into making it happen.
Yep.
But you don't know where to go first, or you're spinning your wheels because you're doing a bunch of stuff and nothing's working.
Yep.
So I think to be able to have conversations with mentors and have a community around you and all of the practical tools that we know as startup founders to make that life easier, to make a better return on whatever time, money, and energy you're investing into building that solution for the world is one of the big ones.
Yep.
I think investment and looking at that capital is to be properly prepared. So I have conversations with a bunch of founders then are like, oh, I wish I had this conversation before I started pitching, because to stand up in front of the world and not to speak with conviction and not to know all of the assumptions and how to mitigate any of the risks, it's almost like you're wasting your time. And I guess word spreads as well.
Yep.
So to be able to have
Small
that real
community,
preparation before you go out and raise.
And what if you have some of these problems and you want to learn more, but you, for whatever reason, can't do the program? I'm assuming there's a cost involved in the program. Do you have free online resources? Tell me what other things are available for people who potentially don't necessarily have the means to jump in yet?
Yeah, so the Tech Ready Women community, we have like a whole bunch of resources that are free. We've got like a financial literacy course right now for business owners. We've got Lunch and Learn series where we bring in experts on particular areas. We have low cost options as well. So jumping into an event or, any of our smaller programs online. But a lot of our programs are funded by partners to offer scholarships. So we have part scholarships to go through the program. So you can
apply for that.
You can apply for those part scholarships, yeah.
And is there anything else you want to tell these people out there who might be looking at it going, this is really, I want to know more? Give us your best your best pitch. We've been talking about it. Give us your best pitch. Say they've got someone, and I've seen this a lot and they're unsure, right? They're not sure if they want to go into it. They might be uncomfortable to them. What would you say to someone who you bumped into who was on the fence about maybe going ahead with something that you guys do, even if it's just the free literacy course, for example?
Yeah. I mean, I think for founders, it feels like a roller coaster ride. You can feel like you don't belong. And I think just having a community that can support you any step along the way and not be judgmental and not, give you all the advice and make you pivot your business 10 times or spend a bunch of money that's not going to give you a return. I think, come and hang out in the Tech Ready community. Even if you're a sideliner, you just want to watch for a little while and not engage. It's definitely a place.
And then I want to ask you one more question. The worst advice you think most people get given before they find you guys?
Oh, the worst advice is to take every piece of advice as gold. So, I think you can be overwhelmed with all of the things that are out there to support founders and try and implement them all. And what I suggest is even tech-ready advice, it's one data point. So go out and gather some more data points to see if that's true. And the data points from your customers are the ones that should be considered gold.
100%. Amazing. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on and running through it. I really wanted to just highlight this program because I think I just want more people to get involved with it. I think having that really staged system, everything from the free stuff all the way through to obviously hopefully raising money or deciding you don't want to raise money, and just even being able to make that decision in a confident manner, I think is amazing, is awesome. I hope that this has a change in the funding that we see, because even though not everyone wants to be funding, there still should be a point, I think, where we need to do that. But I also hope it encourages more people to go and actually start. And I think obviously that's a big part of what you're doing. And now you've got this, I guess, opportunity to really scale and like you said, do things nationally and use the Scalare ecosystem to really take it to another level. I hope we see some real impact out of it.
Amazing. Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure.